I have a problem. Um, and it's with my lithium iron phosphate battery bank. Last night, I could smell this smell, and when I charged my battery bank, my lithium iron phosphate battery bank, um, it off gases a little bit, and it creates a smell in the boat. It's not real bad, but just slightly, and I can notice it. Last night I noticed it, and it smelled like I was charging my batteries, though I was charging other lithium batteries too, for other things. And but I wasn't sure. I kept thinking that smells like when I'm charging my big battery bank. So just now, this morning, I checked the monitor that I have installed to monitor each cell in my battery bank. And one cell had dropped way down, and another cell shot way up in voltage. And so I'm not sure if it's the monitor. I've had problems in the past with the wiring. Was on one of the cells. The first cell was a little loose, and I had to tighten it because I was getting a low reading, and my alarm was going off. And it turns out there's nothing wrong with the batteries. It was just that the bolt that holds it down had gotten loose, probably from vibration from my diesel engine. And so when I tightened that down, it fixed everything. Well, this time I'm not sure, and I've never seen. It appears to me that one cell is dumping energy into the adjacent cell, and so they're supercells. I have actually 5 cells in parallel, and there's 4 sets of those, and maybe one of the single cells has failed. It's been really hot here, and I know lithium iron phosphates, most lithium batteries in general do not like real hot weather, and they don't like freezing weather, and you don't want to charge in either condition. You want to charge the batteries when the temperature is kind of like room temperature or lower, but not freezing and not really hot. And so I did install a Victron low battery disconnect a couple weeks ago. It was in a previous video, and I don't know if this has anything to do with it. But so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my Fluke multimeter and remove the plexiglass cover over the batteries and test those 2 cells and see if it's the same as what I'm seeing on the monitor. So here's the battery bank. And so the first row is one supercell. The second row, 5's the second supercell. The third one's the third row of cells is a third supercell, and then the fourth one's down at the end. And so it's the 2 middle ones that the problem that I'm having is. So let's see if I can show it on this monitor here on what's going on. Okay, hopefully you'll be able to see this. Okay, so cell number 2 is really low. And you can see it on the bar graph there. So it's 3.195, which is still okay. I mean, it didn't go down to dangerously low. But cell number 3 shot way up, and they were all real even. These batteries, I bottom balanced them when I first installed them in here. They're used cells, and they stay balanced the whole way through. They go out of balance. It's weird. When they're discharged as far down, that's safe, because you don't want to discharge them all the way down. But when I discharge them down low, like cell number 2 there, you can see when they get down to about there or a little lower, then I go ahead and recharge. And when they get down to that level, all the bars are the same. And then as I start getting halfway charged up, they start going out of balance a little bit. And then when they get fully charged, the more charged they get, they start balancing back out again. It's really strange. So it's like they're balanced when they're discharged down real low, and they're out of balance when they're in the middle. And then they, as I keep charging up till they start to get full, they start to balance out again, which is great. That's exactly what you want. You don't want them out of balance on the low end, and you don't want them out of balance on the high end, because you can damage them. So But this is, I never seen this before. And so what I'm thinking is that I might have one of those single cells might be bad. And because the way I have them connected, cell number 2 dumped a bunch of energy into cell number 3, and that doesn't make sense to me. But I don't know if just one of the cells, single cells, might be bad, and it's causing the other cells to dump energy into that supercell. So I'm going to remove this plexiglass cover. You got to have these terminals protected, because if you drop a piece of metal across any of these two terminals and short them out, you're going to have possibly a fire. So let's see if I can get this out. It's kind of difficult here on the end, but I'll see what I can do. Okay, so I pulled the plexiglass back a little ways to expose the two inner cells, the two inner supercells. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take a voltage reading on those cells and see if it corresponds to my monitor here that we just looked at. So I got to get my Fluke multimeter. I don't know if you can see the reading on the multimeter, but it's set to DC volts, and it's at 0 volts right now. And so I'm going to go ahead and test bank number 2 and see what the voltage is. Okay, I got 3.29. So 3.29, and see what my meter says. This says 3.18. Now, I'm going to go ahead and test the next bank number 3. This one says it's 3.38. So let's test bank number 3. And okay, so it's a monitoring problem. Wow, that's a good thing. So this is the same. This is 3.29, and this is 3.29. So they're the same. So it's a problem with the monitor. So that's okay. That's good news. So I'm going to have to test all of them and see what they are. So I'm going to see if I can reach over and get this first bank here. It's kind of hard because I'm doing this with one hand. I kind of got to hold on with the other. Oh, look like the same. I can't read this thing. It's kind of, have to lay this down. Okay. 3.29. 3.29, 3.29, and the first bank, let's see if I can get to it here. This plexiglass kind of difficult to slide out. And it should be 3.29. Oh, gotta put it where I can see it. Okay. And this one, it should be good because it didn't have a problem. And it's 3.29. They are all perfectly balanced at 3.29. So it is either one of the connections is bad or this monitor is going wonky on me. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to unplug this monitor and plug it back in and kind of do what you would call a reboot and see if that fixes the problem. What a relief. So my battery bank is fine. It's been a great battery bank, and it is perfectly balanced, which is fantastic. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to unplug this plug here, and let me get zoomed in. Okay, hopefully you'll be able to see those bars. You can see how out of balance it is. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this plug here. I think I'm going to need a flathead screwdriver to do that. Try my small one first. I'm just going to go ahead and pull the plug. And I got like 4 of these, so if this unit's bad, I just bought extra ones. I don't know why I ended up with so many of them. I think I got at least 2 or 3. I thought I bought 4. Okay, so I pulled the plug. I'm just going to let it set for a minute or so, and then I'll plug it back in, and I'll see if it's that. Now, if that doesn't fix the problem, and then the easiest thing for me to do is just get another one of these units out, because I do have some here, at least one more. I know I have at least one more. And I'll replace this and see if that fixes the problem. And if that's not the problem, then it's a wiring problem. And again, it might just be something loose. I've been wanting to go back over and rewire this thing anyway. Just because the wiring that I used was solid copper wire, and you should never use solid copper wire because it's such low voltage and it's for monitoring. I assumed it wouldn't be a problem, but I do have some marine grade wire that I can replace, so that'll be a project coming up here shortly. I think kind of more of a good wintertime project, but I'm really glad it's not my battery bank, because I bought those cells used, and I paid over $3,000 for them. So that's a lot of money for a battery. And but it's huge. It's 900 amp hours of storage, which theoretically goes out to about 11,500 watt hours. But because they're used, probably more, like about 10,000 watt hours of storage that I have. I never did a full capacity test on the entire battery bank when I assembled it, but I did do a capacity check on each cell when I first bought them separate, and they all checked out perfect. So, and it appears they're still really good. So, and they should last a long time. I've already had them for like 5 years, and never a problem. Okay, let's plug this in and see if we get this thing to get back to its normal state here. And there it goes. And there it is. That fixed it. So it may have been just the heat. Look at that. All the bars are the same now. Cell number 1 is slightly lower, and cell number 4 is slightly higher, and that's normal. That's how they've always been. But when I just measured them with my fluke, and they were 3.29 on all of them, even across. But this shows 3.27, 3.28 on number 2, 3.28 on number... Well, actually, actually that would be 3.27 on cell 1, 3.29, because it's actually 289. That would round it up to 3.29 on cell number 2, 3.29 on cell number 3, and 3.29 on cell number 4. So cell number 4 is just like, it's 3.292, and cell number 1 is it went to 269 now. I have the lights on in here, so it's drawing on it. But it was let me turn the power off here, a switch, and see if they jump back up. So yeah, it went back up to 3.27 on cell number 1. They're 23 millivolts out of balance, the entire battery, which is really, really good. They're 23% charged, so that's good. I don't use these batteries a lot, just for my lighting and for my pump that pressurizes the water system in my boat. Basically, these batteries, you don't want to store them fully charged. That's bad for them. You want them about a third charged is really good, and you don't want them too low if you store them, because over time they lose voltage slightly over time, and you just don't want any of them to go too low. That can damage them. But I do have an alarm. This thing has an alarm on it, and so I got it set, I think, for 2.8, and then I also have the battery low voltage battery disconnect, the Victron that I installed a few weeks ago, about a month ago. And so what happens is I got it set so if any of these cells get too low, the first thing will happen is the alarm will go off here. And this alarm in this unit is really obnoxious, and that's what you want. It's you can't miss it. It's really noisy and it's really obnoxious. So the alarm will go off first here if one of these cells goes too low, and then if I'm not here to hear it, then the Victron battery disconnect will shut the whole system down and save my batteries from damage. So lucked out again. I always seem to luck out on stuff on the boat. I don't know why. You know, everything else in life I don't always luck out, but whenever I'm working on boat projects or things happen, I tend to really luck out. And so it could be the heat. It's been really hot. Yesterday was really hot, and that might have had an effect on this. I don't know why it did what it did. That was really strange that it did that, but as you can see, it's fine. So I think this monitor is not accurate, and that's why cell number 1 is showing lower and cell number 4 is showing a little higher, because I just tested all the cells with the Fluke and they're all 3.29 exactly. So this Fluke multimeter is extremely accurate. They're like one of the best multimeters you can buy. So so I think the reason that it's off a little bit on this monitor is that the monitor itself is off. I may go ahead, I think I can go get my another monitor and plug it in, and let's see what happens. Okay, I do have another one, and exactly the same. Let's see what happens, and see if one's more accurate than that one. So I'm going to go ahead and unplug this again. And then I'm going to plug this one in and just see what we get here. And I may go ahead and switch this out if this one's more accurate. It may be better, or it may be worse, or it might be the same. No, this one's worse. Yeah, this one shows the cell number 1 is being really low. It's kind of the same thing, but it's even worse. So, okay, I'm just going to stick with the one I got. These things aren't real super accurate, but this one is not as accurate. So it's 3.265 on the first cell, and the two middle ones are perfectly the same, 3.291, 3.291 on cell number 2 and 3, and cell number 4 is showing higher at 3.299. So yeah, not very accurate. I may be able to take it apart and tweak it, and there might be some way to calibrate it, but I'm not going to bother with it. So I'm just going to go ahead and use the same one, and I have the alarm already set on this anyway, so there we go. Ooh, that's showing cell number 1 as being low now. So, And it could be my first wire connection where I was having problems before. I don't know if it's this wire here. It's not changing. Oh wow, that's a trip. I'm going to go ahead and wiggle this wire over here on the battery itself and see if it's going to make a difference. This is the one that's been giving me problems here. Let's see if that did anything. Yeah, yeah, that's it. That's cell number 1 wire. Now they're really even. Okay. So I don't know why that's. I think it's the crimp connector on it isn't real good. This looks really good now. It's more even than I've seen it. So it's only shows 4 millivolts out of balance. But like I'm saying, the batteries themselves are perfectly balanced. It's this unit that's, it's slightly off, but that looks really good there. And so I'm going to have to go ahead and rewire these, the monitor wires here for this monitor, and just replace them and recrimp everything and redo them. So that'll be a good winter project, but it's fine for now. It's safe. It's not going to be a problem. And yeah, so that's all good. So everything's good. I lucked out again. So, if you found this video to be helpful or entertaining, please like and subscribe.